The Seraphim are going to be spreading democracy. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a 3 versus 3 today here on Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. It is a 1538 average rating, 99 points, or 33 points per player, those of you that can divide by 3. Favouring Team 2 today, it is a Hotties versus Coolies setup, so you know, the Reds versus the Blues basically. If you haven't already seen it, I did a little teaser on this late last night. I couldn't wait to bring you it because I saw it and I thought, well, what epic use of the experimental bomber. You know, just stick with this video now if you haven't seen it. Doesn't matter. Either way, it's coming up now. One other thing I want to mention is, and I'm not looking for any sympathy whatsoever here at all, just to let you all know, I am going away for some major surgery. It's some of you may be aware of it. It's been in the pipeline for a while. It's finally happening this coming Tuesday, which at the time of me recording on the Saturday means about 3 or 4 days' time. I'm not going to be here, clearly, and I'm going to be away for a little while after that in recovery. Who knows how long that's going to be, but just so that you are all aware, I would appreciate it if you just send some positive vibes my way. I'm a believer in the whole thoughts can help manifest reality, you know, the whole quantum observer stuff, quantum physics, quantum entanglement, all of that sort of stuff. I think it's true. If you think it's all nonsense, well, don't worry about it. Don't think about it. I certainly spent the first 30-some years of my life thinking it was nonsense too. But all of that aside, let's go ahead and jump on in. I'll see you there. All right, here we go. Alright, unpausing the game. Let's start introducing our players as we see here. Hotties and Coolies are today manifesting as red versus purple on this particular setup. For no other reason that they're on the top, let's start with the Coolie team, who are also Team 1 on this particular game. Over here in Seraphim, I'm going to try this one without music, is Neroxis. He's 1311 rated. This guy may or may not have been behind the experimental bomber that we saw. Those of you that saw the little sneak peek may or may not recognize his his name. Either way, he's going first land for his team in sky blue. In electric blue over here, we have Flying Olsen, the highest rated player in today's game at 1751. He's Aeon and having gone first land as well. And then last but not least, in Lilac over here in UEF, so a nice pick and mix on the races. The only one that they don't have is the Cybran faction in Lilac. He's going first land as well. It's Lollywar Scythe. Lolwar Scythe, I beg your pardon. I need my glasses on. Lolwar Scythe. He's going first land as well. 1503. And so, yeah, very quick standard opening there. Did get a solitary P-Gen there, and I'm going to assume he got that one P-Gen because the hydro farm is a little further away than he would ideally like. It is a Neroxis Map Gen. Just curious to see if he gets it without stallage. He's not paused his factory. And if we just take a little look here, 75 mass on the rocks, 10 apiece for these. And that looks like he's going to get it no problem. One engineer. Commander's there. If he does stall, there's a bunch of trees here he could reclaim. Yeah, no problem. Look at that. He's a pro. Why should I have even questioned him? He's over the 1500 mark. Coming in then, let's start introducing the Hotties then, aka Team 2. In orange, we've got Nomander. We've featured this guy several times on the channel. He's going as Cybran, a 1616 rated. He's gone first land, second air. Over in Burgundy, we've got, where is he? He's probably going north to the sea. Indeed he has. It's Johansa. He's going as the Seraphim as well. He's 1623 rated, having gone first land and, well, first land, second navy it looks like. And then last but not least, those of you that hate the player intros, well, there's only 6 of them today, is the Alpha, 1423 rated. This guy is the lowest rated on his team at 1425, as we said. First land, looks like it's going to be second land and third air. This here, I was going to say it's a plateau, but it's not. It's the opposite. It's like a little valley here that does appear to be... oh, is it landlocked? I was going to say it's landlocked, but I think you can sneak something around there, but it's pretty much landlocked. Certainly if the other team managed to get naval dom, he is cut off. Does make for an interesting segment of the map. We've also got this little bit back here that is separated by this little valley. So while it's not easy access for any sort of surprise drops or anything, it would certainly be an ideal spot for a sneaky base. One other thing, yeah, as game gets on, we've got some bombers here passing. I'll leave that on the view there. I'm not going to mess around with the ruler. It's one of those weird maps where it's not a straight 15 by 15 or a 12.5 or 17.5. This one was 13 kilometers. That there was a beautiful bomb on the build capacity. 3 units of build capacity there versus Lolwart. And he gets a 4th. Very, very effective. Yeah, so 13... I couldn't tell if it was 13.25, 13.5, 13.75, but either way, there you have it. Does anybody know of a way, whether you're a developer or programmer or whatever, to get rid of these ugly black borders? I realise it's what happens when the Neroxis makes a map that isn't quite 10 by 10 or 20 by 20, but come on, this looks horrific. If somebody can think of a way to get rid of it, or make a mod or some adjustment, please let us know, and perhaps we can even... you know, between the casters, set up some sort of an incentive to help somebody figure out a way, because nothing is quite so ugly as seeing this. Bomber here from Electric Blue, the Flying Olsen, with just 2 kills thus far, going after the engineers that are in the valley, and I'm not sure what happened there. Flying Olsen's going to have to want to talk to the pilot here. Doesn't get his bombs off, and again I'm sure I heard bombs come off and I didn't see any impact whatsoever, and that bomber then does harmlessly get shot down. The Alpha, with some very clever engineer juggling there, some nice micro, manages to keep them all alive. Quick check back over here, that bomber's indeed down. Intel for days here for the Hotties. Take a look at this. There's scouts almighty there. We've got 4 of them in the area. We've got a bomber over here, and I assume order of business is build capacity. We've got a couple of frigates over here from Lolwart already. Bombs away from Nomander, backs himself 2 engineers. Again, the 2 that were, well, there were only 3 of them on the line there from Flying Olsen. And now the 3rd is down. So again, that's huge. This is massive setbacks for early Navy build capacity. See, your Hunza here is the first one to get any numbers on, but he's facing up against Lolwart's sub here. Well, sub, rock, paper, scissors versus the frigates. Let's see if I can get it right in the heat of the moment. Rock, beat, scissors. There you go. I said that analogy about a month ago. Got it arse backwards, and somebody... Now help. I realized as I was saying it, I got it backwards. I thought, oh, I'll try let it slide. Hopefully nobody will realize. Of course, I can't get anything past you guys. Somebody points it out, and yeah, this is where sub in the early Tech 1 stage beats the frigates. Is this a ground fire? This is a ground fire from Nomander. Look at the amount of damage that was able to enact on the sub. I have not seen Tech 1 bombers ground fire sub like that before. It's usually something you see later stages on the set-ons when air player completely dominates and has got the micro to spare. Is he going to have another pop at it? Nomander. There he goes. There's the ground fire order. And let's have a look how much damage. Well, look at that. Almost wipes out the sub. Just 50 hit points remain. Those were just 2 salvos of ground fire. Best I can tell, there was nothing else done at all. And so if Nomander can just get one more string of bombs out and just one of those connect with the surface of the water near that sub, it's good night. Let's take a little look at the bases then while we're waiting for some of this action to continue. Nezox over here at the Tech 2 stage with yeah, seemingly all of his mass points. Flying Olsen was the player to grab these on the valley. Flying Olsen, the front player. Bit of a mix-up over here. We see Yehonza, if this was Mirror, would be taking these mass points in the valley, but it's not. It's the Alpha. The reason this matters, Flying Olsen is a 1751. The Alpha is a 1425. And so you could say the Hotties, the guy with the other extra mass points, is 300 rating points behind, you know, the guy on Team 1 in the Coolies who's got the mass points. Filing out some repayment with the subs. Although it's just one, and he's up against at least 3 belonging there to Flying Olsen. Although, if Flying Olsen's targeting facilities are going after frigates, seems to have allowed sub here from Nomander to get some free shots. But again, I'm still... Again, Hotties looks like they've got numbers, but the Coolies with their subs, I think, will be able to win this fight. Nomander's sub there gets its second kill. That's going to be its last. There is one more sub here from Yomander. Flying Olsen retreating all the way to his naval yards. And of course, as we said a million times before for the new players, if you retreat your ships in and around your naval yards when you are outnumbered by superior enemy forces, you can use your own shipyards basically as shields. They absorb the shots, a bit like if you position a tank on one side of a land factory versus an enemy tank on the other side. Even if they've got 2 tanks and you've only got 1, as long as you're in your land factory is in the middle, you're going to win that fight, because your shots will pass through the factory and theirs, instead of hitting your tank, will hit the factory. So, top tip. Realize like 3/4 of my audience are like, yeah, man, we know this. You only cast it, we actually play it. I know you used to play it like 10 years ago. Tech 2 now on the line from Yehonza, the Hotties, and this is problems for Flying Olsen, who does manage to get the Aeon floating shield, and he needed something because he's outnumbered here. Do see some support coming through now from Lolwar just at the right time, because the Hotties are working together here. Yehonza and Nomander. And there we see Lolwar coming to the rescue, saving Flying Olsen with the Thunderheads. The Tech 1 UEF frigate with the jammers on board. Let's have a little look what these guys can see. And the jamming, yeah, there you go. There's a couple of fake contacts over there. Of course, once you get in visual range, the jamming don't mean anything. And that is a lot of pressure here from the Hotties, but it just looks like it's in the exact right place for the Coolies to be the beneficiary of all the reclaim. If the Hotties are able to wipe this engage out here and now, I don't know what to make of it. And what's this? 11 minutes, 20 seconds. We've got our first strategic bomber out from Nezox. Let's follow this guy around. First bomb down, and it misses. Pings are going down. Look at all that Tech 1 anti-air fire from the frigates. They wipe almost half the hit points off that strategic bomber. That's something else. The Alpha now with a couple of interceptors. Nomander as well with a few more going after the strategic bomber. Nezox has the good thought to screen it. Strategic bomber eats a bunch of interceptor fire. ASF still on the tail. They're going to provide a little bit of cover. Strat bomb still with 0 kills. Makes its way across the map. Here it goes. Bombs are away. And it is a center aim and gets 2 of the mass extractors there belonging to Yehonza before the Alpha picks it off with his first ASF. One strategic bomber for 2 Tech 2 mass points. Was it worth it? And I'll let you decide, but I suspect no, especially seeing as they're going to be able to get the reclaim from the strategic bomber. Let's have a look. Where is that reclaim? There it is. No, it isn't. Or is it? Yes, it is. It's right next to the mass point. For a moment, I thought it was a killing your own mass point. So 1,406 mass. Checking back over here, Nomad is currently infiltrating Flying Olsen's naval yard. He's lost one. Again, despite the Tech 2 destroyers here, despite Nomander's spam, Nomander's actually with a very cheeky forward factory. Look at this. Right on the doorstep of the Coolies base. Again, if this always happens and you're at the Tech 2 or beyond stage, tactical missile launcher it. Just one TML, you reach it from your main base, kapow, and it's gone. That is, of course, assuming that you don't have enough forces to handle, and I suspect Flying Olsen, by the skin of his teeth, had enough units there to hold. You can already see the Hotties pulling back. Two very heavily damaged destroyers, one with 11 kills, the other with 15. Some masterful play here from Johansa. He's got to be careful, though. And it does look... Oh, it's so close. It's so close to a rank of vet. And it does eventually succumb. Still got one destroyer that's heavily damaged, but does now have an enemy destroyer to contend with as well. As these blazes... Is it going to get it out of dodge with just a sub 100 hit points? It's time to go, Johansa. Come on, pull out. No time like the present to get out of dodge. Please say no. I want my medal, says the captain. We're not leaving here until I get the Navy Star. Nomander as well with the spam does lose his forward yard. That Alpha here builds, he says, oh, I like that idea. Let's build one as well. And Johansa now with the long-range cruisers lobbing in missiles from afar. This here is perfect use of... I love this play. You're a spam at the front. You've got destroyers waving around, providing screening cover, and in-back cruisers. Long-range missiles, anti-air capability. There you see it. They bag themselves a torpedo launcher. They're going to go for these torpedo bombers now. The torpedo bombers going after the frigates and our destroyers. Some of them do get a second pass. It's going to be close, but no cigar. And this is a very expensive area now for Nezox to fly over. He's got ASF, more torpedo bombers. I'm surprised those torpedo bombers lived as long as they did, considering the couple of Seraphim cruisers here. As we get towards the 16th minute, then how long does it take you to rebuild your mass points? In fact, I like that. Nomander, realizing that it's taken Johansa too long, sends a group of 3 engineers over to reclaim the wreckage. I'd have done the same, man. In fact, I'd have even rebuilt them and then kept them for myself until, if my guy says, hey, you've took my mass points, then all right, hand them back over. But I mean, you know, he's not rebuilt them within a minute or two. By all means, the mass is yours, in my opinion. It's a team game, after all. You win or lose as a team. You don't want to leave economy on the table. At the very least, put a ping down. Let your teammate know if he's busy doing, I don't know, Navy micro, for example. And or dropping engineers on the front line. Does he get it down? No. Alpha's transport gets shot down. Why does he want to bring engineers in? Well, there's your answer. There's about 5,000 or 6,000 mass worth of wrecks on the front line. And if the Hotties are able to continue pushing this close to the Coolies' main base, all of that mass is going to fall into the Coolies' hands. Speaking of which, 10 seconds away from the 17th minute, let's take a look at the totals. 229 versus 224, favouring Team 2. It's about a 5,000 mass advantage, which works out at around 2% at this stage of the game. So very minor advantage for the Hotties, but that 2% could find itself brushed away unless they can hold. A very adventurous destroyer here from Lolwart. Pushes quite far forward, and I think he was very lucky there to hold. That was a very success. I don't know how many ships just died in that particular part of the video. Perhaps some of you want to wind back and let us know. It was at least 5 or 6 anyway in just like half a second. Alpha sends some ASF over to screen, then pulls back. Again, very, very close. Very, very close. We've got cruisers back here still from Johansa lobbing in long-range missiles. That's going to prevent any of the naval vessels from standing still. Not that you'd want to stand still, even if you were against just standard Tech 2. Of course, it only really makes a difference versus the Seraphim, whose beam weapons you can't dodge. But every other faction you can dodge. And just as I thought the Hotties were getting pushed back, they managed to regain a little bit. They've got a lot of engineers in the area. Flying Olsen, though, has got some as well as Lolwar. You can see there, 101. How many of these got? Well, this guy's got 133. This one as well. Flying Olsen's engineer, 192. Now 304. So, yeah, it's racking up. What about these guys? 194, 198. Now you get the idea. Somebody's saying, back on the action, please. Yes, we know you can see the reclaim of every individual engineer, but there's more things to life than seeing how much reclaim a Tech 1 engineer's got. At least the Seraphims say so. And if they say it, it must be true. Lots of missiles. The more forward units now are engineers from the Hotties. See these missiles impacting. And look at that. They do manage to pick off one Tech 2 ship there belonging to Flying Olsen that stood still a little too long or patrolled itself into the enemy missile. Missile was aiming for one ship. They all move and it hits another. See it happen a lot. But I'm starting to suspect now, Lolwar together with Flying Olsen getting just enough units together here. Together with the Tech 2. Floating shields from the UEF. The Bulwark shields. This is a force multiplier. I say it all the time when it's used. It really is. And just look at what the difference it's made. A hole suddenly appears in the Hotties' forward line that was not there before. Thanks to these shields able to absorb a lot of hit points. What we're talking here. 5,500 a piece, and he's got 3 of them. And so that's 16,500 hit points worth of shots before anybody starts taking any damage. Assuming, of course, he keeps his units under the shields and the shields don't position themselves in such a way that splash damage takes out 2 shields at once. Of course, that's why important. Layered shields. A bunch of destroyers here from Johansa. Now, these are very, very good. If they can get in range and all of them get the beam weapons off, that will disintegrate the shield hit points very quickly. And perhaps a little bit of a mistake there from Lolwar gets separated from Flying Olsen, and that leaves a large flotilla of units here vulnerable. Flying Olsen decides to split. Could this be a pincer attempt to try and distract the Hotties? If Flying Olsen can come down this way and pull Hotties over, it may leave a front door unguarded for Lolwar to push through. That is, of course, assuming he wants to. Lolwar going very, very heavy on the Navy. Look how many naval yards this guy's got. Let's have a little look. I'm going to count this way. 13 at the Tech 1 stage, and he's got a couple of Tech 2s. Quick check over here. We've got a stealth boat. This is the first time I've seen this employed in this game. Right here, let's have a look what that impacts from the cooling. Well, there you see, it's forcing Lolwar forward because he knows if we can't shoot at what we can't see. And if we can't see them and they can see us, well, they can fire at us with impunity. Look how desperate they are to push forward. Now that that stealth boat's gotten into town. Big wave of torpedo bombers now from the Alpha. Kapow. Oh, beautiful pickup there from Neroxis, paying attention. None of those torpedo bombers get a second pass. There's another wave over here. Surely they're going to get... They only get the heavily damaged destroyer. That was a lot of torpedo bombers. But look at this. Here's why the Hotties have been a little light. Nomander has taken the opportunity to switch up to Tech 3. He's gotten himself a Cybran battleship on the line. And this guy will outrange, outgun, and outmatch anything at the Tech 2. Oh, Neroxis was waiting. He saved his torpedo bombers up. How many has he got there? 23. And in one pass, they've taken almost half the hit points off the battleship. Most of them are going to get a second pass. And this could be the most ineffective battleship I've seen in some time. They're now on the stages of a third pass. The Alpha gets what few ASF he's got in the area. Just 2,600 hit points remain. Neroxis has got air superiority. The torpedoes and bombers are coming through for a fourth pass, and that's it. The battleship is down. The Alpha did try to exploit the confusion by using torpedo bombers of his own, but they didn't do nearly half as well. Let's have a look at how much mass. Well, we got to wait for it to sink first, but that's happening as we speak. There she goes. Just one torpedo bomber from the Alpha remains. That's now been taken out. And it's Neroxis who's got air superiority at this time. There's the battleship. 3,228 mass down there worth of damage. Or worth of mass, I should say, that's been damaged. And in a little reversal of fortune, it would seem the coolies have pushed the Hotties all the way back. In no small part thanks to the air here from Neroxis, who is the coolies' weakest player. He's certainly not playing like it, though. We've got here another 22 torpedo bombers ready to go. Neroxis happy that he's got air dom. He's redirecting some of his build capacity towards torpedo bombers. He realizes this is a Navy map, and it looks like Navy is going to win or lose the game. If I've got air, might as well switch. The Alpha's still going torpedo bombers, which, okay, but really, his priority needs to be ASF at this point. If he can't put ASF over the top of his own Navy when it comes... I mean, here we see pings. Again, this big naval assault. 39 in total. And they're going for the naval HQ there belonging to Johansa. And one pass is all it's going to take. Johansa, who's got numerous support factories, they're not going to be able to produce anything now. There is a lot of flat units over here from Johansa. And so it's a very expensive mission from Neroxis to do what he did. Is it worth it for a naval HQ? Yes, but, you know, you're only going to get that one pass, and that is it. It's very quickly reclaimed. And Johansa gets right to work on a new one. He's got a lot of build capacity here that, as far as I can tell, didn't take any damage. If he can get your engineers out the way anytime you like, pal, move on over. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, there we go. Finally, Johansa nails it. There's the Tech 1, and there's the upgrade. He's got so much build capacity. This is real time. Yeah, look at that. And so, yeah, certainly a delay that he could have done without, but look how quick those hit points are flying up. And there's your Tech 2 Naval HQ online. And he's going straight for Tech 3. Now that it is a Tech 2, he'll be able to use his other Tech 2 his facilities as well, the support factories. And he's just skipping straight to Tech 3. We do have another battleship out in the meanwhile from Nomander, making its way to the front line. Maybe this one could do a little better. The wreck's still down there, I'm surprised. With that much mass down there, I'm surprised. Oh. Just as I say it, Nomander says, yeah, I know, I'm dealing with it. And he actually drops in a couple of Tech 2. That's curse of the commentator, as Guy would say. You mentioned Summit, and then every man and his dog starts doing what you just said isn't happening. The Alpha's got more engineers out here than I've had hot dinners. Only in my entire lifetime. And the battleship now gets its first broadside off at the enemy. Hasn't yet got any kills, but at least it's able to inflict some damage. Go on then. Keep moving in. What a beautiful game, right? You get the angle right. Certain parts of this game, aside from the big black border, let's forget about that bit. I know I say it all the time. You know, when you consider how old the game is, I know. Yes, when you consider how old the game is, I realise there's a group of people working on it all the time. But man, was this ahead of its time. Let's have a look at the ecos then as we start a few seconds away from the 29th minute, and now a distinct advantage. Team 2 pulling away. Almost 900,000 mass versus 765 it will be. There we go. So 10 to 15% now. Favouring the Hotties, and they need something because the Coolies had started pushing them back. Oh, they've gotten split again. This here from Flying Olsen is very dangerous. If it works, it's brilliant. If it doesn't, oh, lol war, what you doing? You got to keep the pressure on. You can't split off, and then this is unfortunate play from the Coolies. It just enables the Hotties to just go after Flying Olsen, to pick on him. And he's just gotten a few units in the back, which is going to really be nothing more than an annoyance at this stage. Especially when they're up against battleships that can broadside Tech 2 units like that. A lot of them are heavily damaged. So no minimum range on these battleships. Well, there you see. That there was a little bit of a disaster, if I say so myself. Big scouting run from the Alpha. He wants to see what's what. Let's see what he can see. Oh, those of you that saw the preview. Neroxis. Go on then. Let's track it. And I rarely do this, but let's switch things up a little bit. Let's track it. Here she comes. I really do the cinematics like this because you lose situational awareness somewhat. But if I go like that, you've got your mini-map. Bang! And the Tech 2 NATO... Oh no, the camera hasn't gone. A large number of Tech 2 forces there, which is just as well, right? Because Flying Olsen just lost a large flotilla. Now the... got some repayment in kind now from the Coolies. 14 kills for the experimental bomber. He swings round. Neroxis is screening it with a bunch of ASF. And he gets it right through the side, avoiding this large anti-air area. There's a lot of cruisers been put there by Johansa. The experimental bomber continues to travel down. There is its plasma bomb. There was the Alpha's air grid. Bang! 49 kills. Look at that insane amount of mass. 62,000 mass already. He comes round for another. Bang. That makes it 94,000 mass killed so far. As I said before the preview, and I'll say it again, if that don't make you want to quit, I don't know what will. Credit to the Alpha for not lobbing in the towel. There's another bomb on Nomander's southern expansion this time. 114,000 mass killed so far. That wipes out the benefit. Oh no, they're about 200,000 mass ahead overall. That's 135. So that's 75% of that mass advantage wiped out by this bomber, and it's still going. It's already a 5-star, 143 kills. There goes another one. 158,000 mass killed. 164 kills in total. It's revving up 150 hit points a minute. Is now starting to take damage. Down goes another bomb. That makes it 214. The saving grace, I'm going to disconnect the camera, is Johannes has managed to get some of these. The SAM sites online. The surface-to-air missile. In comes the bomber. 176,000. 200,000 mass. And it is then shot down. That 200,000 mass accounts for the discrepancy. And so despite Team 2, the Hotties, somehow being 200,000 mass ahead, thanks to Neroxis there, in one of the best experimental bomber runs I've ever seen, just wipes it out. This game, despite that, is 50-50 from an economic standpoint. Thankfully, the Hotties have still got their navy, but yeah, I'm surprised, and credit to them, that they didn't lob in the towel. If this was me, I'm just going to be honest here, guys. I'd lob in the towel. I think, screw this, GG, I'm out of here. And I don't think the other team would be particularly surprised if the Hotties did GG at this point. I mean, all of them just ate an experimental bomber. Their air player is almost out. See Nomanda, he lost half of his eco. Johannes probably got away with it in the least thanks to his Seraphim shield, but even he ate a good portion. All of that aside though, Navy, yeah, almost, if it feels like if the Hotties could play together, well, I was going to say they've got an advantage. Perhaps Neroxis just took that out with a huge number. I think those kills were almost exclusively frigates at that moment in time. We've got another battleship on the floor down here. 3,000 mass. And the second experimental bomber that we've seen this game. Somehow, the Hotties are not collapsing. Neroxis. Well, there you go. Tele-def, teleport defense, and I assume that's what that means in Russian. Yep, is pinged in the same place. So if you ever wanted to know the Russian for tele-def, there you go. Not even going to try and embarrass myself and pronounce it. I am massive credit to the Hotties here for holding. Who do you think is going to win? We are looking forward. Who do you think is going to win at this moment in time? There'll be some people say, well, it's obvious. It's going to be the Hotties, because if it was the Coolies, there would be no cast. But then there's others that are going to say, nah, he's had comebacks too many times. It's got to be the Coolies. Then there'll be others still that say, yeah, but he likes to do the bluff and the whole double bluff thing. And so I really think it's the Hotties again, because otherwise, why would he even say that? And then there's some that say, but why would he say that if he's... You get the gist, don't you? Some saying, yes, it's old. You've said that before. Experimental bomber there in the distance. Look at it. Circling ominously. Go on then. Are you going to come this way? Oh, he's got a second. Look at that. 2 experimental bombers in the distance. Neroxis moves in. Let's see what they can do. Here they come. Either way, those distant atmospheric effects look incredible. Experimental bomb away. Let's go this way so we can keep track on what's going on. There's the second, and they enact a huge amount of damage onto these battleships. These battleships from Nomanda need to split up. Neroxis decides I'm going to continue, goes after the naval construction facilities of Nomanda. The first one takes out the build capacity, and the second one knocks out the Tech 3 HQ. And the amount of anti-air that these experimental bombers have got means that Alpha's 5 or 6 ASF has managed to amass is just for naught. Thankfully, the Hotties had the foresight to cover their base with SAM sites. The first one is taken down. 1 experimental bomber remains, and Yomanda's main base, who managed to get a disruptor online, is suddenly taken out. 1 experimental bomber here from Neroxis remains, and it's circling awful close to Alpha's SAM site facilities. 6,000 hit points. Ooh, it goes off the end. It does take off a couple of mass points for its troubles, but I suspect the Alpha will have been happy with that versus the other potential targets. Experimental bomber circles back round. Oh, beautiful place bomb there. And Neroxis perhaps a little cheeky with the off map there. Bomber comes back in. Oh, right into Alphas, who's only just begun to re-establish. Thankfully, I think that bomb could have been much worse. Alpha, again, with just a handful of ASF, pursues the experimental bomber, and he does manage to shoot it down, thankfully. And just as that one gets shot down, a fourth experimental bomber from Neroxis rolls in, and this one looks like it's going to go down without a single kill. So after one of the best bombers we've ever seen from a player, just 3 bombers, experimental bombers later, is one of the worst we've ever seen. Shot down without a single kill. Doesn't get any worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. And suddenly, the game is wide open once again. This here is an air grid to be proud of, man. He's working on a 5th experimental bomber as well. Let's take a little look at the ecos now after the damage caused by that first one. Totals, Hotties, well, they're pulling away. Almost 2 million versus 1.6. That has got to be thanks to a lot of this reclaim. And they've still got 3 of them. They've got 30,000 here. I don't know why that's only 900. And they've got another 38,000 over here. So they've got at least, you know, add up the other X there, 100,000 mass to reclaim on their own islands. And that can be put into some sort of weapon that can repay the favor awful quick. I have to say, Navy-wise, huge props to both teams. It's gone back, it's gone forward. It always seemed like the torpedo bombers were the ones that, if there was any sort of a stalemate, began to tip it one way or the other. But it's never been the final blow that was required. Somehow, Lol War manages to get a few frigates in back of Hottie's base, going after build capacity. They're not going to get very much done, though. There's so much Navy there. From the Hotties, once again, experimental bombers takes out, it just seems like frigates, some very heavily damaged battleships, which I'm sure is the primary target. If he places this right, he'll be able to take both of them out. He takes one of them. Yeah, if he ground fired right there, I think it would have got both of them. Neroxis looking after this one a little better. Big scouting run once again from the Hotties. Let's have a little look what's going on back in base. Going for power. Well, they've got a lot of mass to spend. I don't blame them. Experimental bomber here with 7 kills. We'll check back on in a minute. Another one under construction over here. Flying Olsen going for the teleporter. Oh, it didn't get its bomb off, and the Alphas managed to get enough ASF together. He goes on a suicide mission to go after the experimental bomber, and he gets it. The Alpha, huge props, man. Again, don't think he'll mind me saying it's the weaker man on his team, but he's come back from naught and then come back almost a second time. Forget his base was ravaged by numerous experimental bombers. A very nice pressure here from Nomander with the Barracudas, the stealth subs going after some of these cruisers. There is one destroyer here from Lol War, but when you've got stealthed up subs, providing they stay out of visual range, that's still an advantage to the subs. Let's see what Nomander, well, thanks to these, he can see them, and he probably will lose sight of them now. There they go. Thanks to the stealth. Checking in now. The Alpha, who has, look at this, Maser, teleporter, and gun. And so this is the Telemaser Cybran Commander. And this is a little clue that he's charging himself up. Where will he go? 42 minutes. This could change everything. Let's select him so we can follow him over the map. In fact, what I'm going to do is hold down shift. There is his impact point. So let's get the camera here ready. So far, I don't think the coolies have spotted him. There he is, and he's going after the air grid belonging to Neroxis, who's been instrumental in this game. And kapow, a huge part of Neroxis and his grid just went up. He's got another part over here. Very fast response there. Chase after the commander with tech 2-point defense. There's a lot of build capacity here. The Alphas managed to take out a large part of the remaining air grid. And this here has been, well, the Alpha, come on. Let's hand it to him right here, right now. Man of the match. He came back after losing his air grid. He's just taken out the opposing player's air grid almost entirely. There's like 3 or 4 air factories left. That is it. He gets away from the tech 2-point defense. He starts his energizing to get away. He's still inflicting damage. He's halfway down. He's a 5-star. He's got no more rank to go. He is ramping up 45 hit points a sec. He's eating tech 2 fire, but he's going to go in 3, 2, 1, and now. My countdown was a little off, wasn't it? There we go. The Alpha gets away with it. That was absolutely incredible. Well played. What is this? Flying Olsen with his own commander has teleported over here at Tech 3 and he's building tap missile launchers. I do not see a stealth gen. There's no stealth. Surely the Hotties don't see it. The Hotties, they cannot have an Omni because no matter where you had an Omni, you would see this. And if you had a Tech 1 radar anywhere over here, you would see it. There's no stealth gen. Did this guy seriously scout the entire map, realize, hang on, they've got no radar, and think, well, no radar, no stealth? I don't believe this. He's not been spotted. I mean, at this point, Flying Olsen, he may as well teleport home. I mean, I don't see what's to gain by hanging around here. It's going to take him a moment or two to charge up his teleport. Flying Olsen is currently invaded with some land forces. Again, this is where Tech 1 and Tech 2 excel versus Tech 3 battleships. Just by numbers they can go through. They're pushing into Nomander's base. Nomander's got a couple of support commanders. He is working on Tech 1 point defense. They will eventually be able to deal with that. I'm blown away that the Hotties have not spotted this with a radar or a plane that's accidentally flown over. How many times have we seen that on this channel? You know, a base discovered because some dude accidentally flies somewhere and the tap missile launchers are away and Nomander's got himself a disruptor online and the tap missiles are going straight for it. Let's see, how long does it take the team to realize? Someone say what's so funny about that. I don't know, man. It's just hilarious. Here we go. They've now been spotted. There's the obligatory ping. Everybody now aware of what's up. Serves you right for not putting a radar on, don't it? And yeah, now massive Corsair does eventually take him out. Flying Olsen's trying to teleport away. It's going to be close. All of those Corsairs coming back round for the... They're going after the tap missile launcher, which is interesting. And there, yeah. Flying Olsen does manage to get away. Wow. Let's have another look over here. The Alpha... Wait, he's repairing himself. Oh, he's teleporting again. He's teleporting. I was saying he's repairing himself. The Tech 3 engineer. He's once again getting ready to jump. He's almost full health again. I do think that the Cybran commanders... Only 45 hit points a second, despite being 5-star with all of these upgrades. To me, feels a little low. But perhaps that's to prevent them just teleporting too many times. There he is. Oh, teleports right next to a Tech 2. Bank of point defense. And the Alpha is taken out. 47 minutes. And we've got our first casualty of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are enjoying the game, do leave it a like. Let these players know you appreciate them. Let me know you appreciate me. I try, as I say before, you know, I try to live off the glory of some of these top players. I try to share in it. Of course, it's all those, the skill's all on them. You know, if it was a crap game, as I've said many times before, it would be a crap video to watch. I don't care how good you are at casting. If it's a crap game, it's going to be crap. There's no two ways about it. 47 minutes in, and Johansa fires an experimental nuke from the YOLO that is built quite far forward for a Navy game. Let's have a look. Is there anything to stop this? Well, we've got an experimental new launcher over here as well from Neroxis. Because this was the target. He's trying to get a nuke online, but it's a lot slow. Why is that building so slow? Unbelievable. I guess his engineers are repairing the nuke launcher rather than assisting the nuke being built. Johannes has been able to get a second experimental nuke out. Look at all these anti-nukes that Johannes has gotten online. He's got 5. How many's the other team got? 1? Seriously? Thanks to the mod that highlights these sort of structures. Best I can tell, there's only 1 nuke defense. It's got 3 in the clip from Flying Olsen. That's going to shoot this one down. Of course, it takes 2. That leaves 1 anti-nuke in the clip. Strategic launch. Well, in comes another. Look at all the anti-nukes that the Hotties have got. Strategic launch detected. Oh, Neroxis finally gets his experimental nuke out. But I don't see anything that the coolies have got to stop this. There's 1, and it's halfway on the way to a second. The nuke's coming in. The Hotties are starting to dominate naval-wise as well. The 1 nuke goes out. The nuke defense goes out, rather. It's taken out. It leaves the experimental to connect. Shady camera view connecting as well. And kapow. The main base of Neroxis, together with the experimental nuke, is taken out. And with it, the coolies call it a night. Ladies and gentlemen, was that not a comeback of all comebacks? I do hope you enjoyed the game. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember, as I've said, I will be away for the foreseeable. I've got a couple of games pre-recorded. I will set those to come out while I'm away. Not necessarily to be at the same standard as this one. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, take care. Patrons, I will try to get you another, that 4 versus 4 that I promised you out today as well. It is an old time 4 versus 4, so everybody else don't think, oh, he's doing 4 versus 4s over there now. No, there's a special reason for this one. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care. Ta-ra.